As hospitals across the nation experience a shortage in masks, many people have jumped into action by donating them. Valerie Hsu is one of those people. The ninth grader at Green Hill School in Addison, Texas, recently donated 11,000 masks to UT Southwestern Medical Center. With this incredible donation, she not only hoped it would protect the workers, but also help dispel any bias against Asian Americans during our nation's health crisis. Joining me today to talk about her amazing efforts is Valerie. So tell me a little bit about where your idea for donating masks initially came about and why it was so important for you to get involved.
Sure. So the first and main reason is obviously there's been a growing need for masks and PPE for medical workers. My dad has a family friend in Florida who is an ER doctor who said he needed to reuse the same mask for multiple weeks, which just goes to show the urgent need for medical workers to have equipment like masks in order to do their job. Because in order for a community to fight this virus, medical workers need to be able to be safely protected. This is something that's happening nationwide, and I think it's something that needs to be considered, especially in a first world country like the US. These things should not be happening. And I think as people in this country, we have a civic duty to try and benefit or try and sponsor and try and help these doctors any way possible, since they are our frontline workers. They are putting their lives at risk, and I feel like we have a civic duty to do this. And then the second reason is to show that Asian Americans are fighting with frontline workers in our common goal to defeat the virus and help contribute to our community, and just trying to dispel a lot of the biases and xenophobia we've seen coming with the coronavirus.
Well said. Now, you, I know, have been working over the past month to kind of get this started, but what were your biggest tools and resources in order to get this going and obviously raise all that money to purchase the masks?
Sure. I think one of the biggest tools, which I'm really thankful for, is my friends and my family. Without them, there's no way I would have been able to do this at all. This means a lot of my friends have been able to share our advocacy with a lot of people, not even in the state I live in, Texas, but all over the country, which has led to an increase in donations. And also for my mom to be able to connect with family friends in China for different vendors is really helpful. I'm just really thankful to all my friends and family, because I could not have been able to do without them.
And they were all able to spread this message word of mouth through a GoFundMe that you had started, if that's correct.
Yes.
Right? We love to ask a lot of the people who are doing wonderful things, such as yourself, about if there is a charity, an organization, a nonprofit that you personally hold close to your heart that you would want others to consider donating to if they have the means. Is there anything in particular that you feel is important to spread the word about?
I think a really big one is the North Dallas Food Bank. Right now, especially with the whole coronavirus situation, there's been a lack of people donating to the North Dallas Food Bank because they're scared of catching the virus or something. I think it's really essential, especially people who need it, like homeless people and so on, really need those food sources. These are things that they depend on.
You are wise beyond your years, Valerie. I mean, it's just so well said. And I have to thank you for joining me here today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I wish you all the best moving forward. I can't wait to see where your campaign goes next. I'm sure only great things from here. And of course, stay safe out there.
Thank you so much for having me.
The coronavirus outbreak has led to the postponement of large public gatherings around the country. While we may typically think of this as sporting events and concerts, what has also largely been affected are funeral homes. Tyler Dunlap, a pastor from Ohio, recently started an online funeral service company called Consoling that has proven essential for families during the pandemic. Joining me now is Tyler. Tyler, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start this company?
I saw that one of the things that was going to be affected that I thought was probably going to be overlooked was that of just people that are going through their everyday lives passing away. And so we needed to have a way that people could be safe, that people could have the opportunity to come together and grieve and celebrate and do everything as much as close to normal as possible for people to be able to really find a way to bring closure to that person's lives, but also be able to celebrate and communally grieve.
What typically goes into setting up one of these events?
So I took the experiences that I had from my life up to this point and said, okay, how can we make this interactive so we can make it so it's not just one camera and it's a very static image. What I've been able to do is be able to work it where we have numerous cameras, and what is happening is there's a camera that's focused on the minister and the urn or the casket, and then we also have another camera that is facing the family members who are there, who are grieving, and then what will happen is we'll move back and forth between those. We've also taken a third camera and placed it above the casket for the families who wanted it, so at the end of the service we can flip to that camera and allow people a chance to be able to say their goodbyes virtually. And people have found that, a lot of folks have found that very helpful, because you want to be able to see them. You want to be able to say goodbye. There's a chat feature that's open so people can share their memories and be able to upload documents and all those things. And at the end, we're able to put that all together, merge it in a video, and share it and have it for the family. And that's been really helpful for a lot of people.
And what have you heard from families who have participated so far?
Well, one of the things that has actually been just fantastic is the number of families who have joined in, and this was kind of seen as taboo in the past. The idea of live streaming a funeral, of having that, was something that's been around for a long time, but people are going, I should probably be there in person. Now, because of this, people that were in California and are maybe having to go to Nebraska, they're going to be able to see this. And so we had a service about 2 weeks ago where we had 268 people watching the service. So it's been wonderful to be able to have people connect and experience that relationship together, and be able to connect in ways that they wouldn't have before that.
And where do you see the future of this going, even next few weeks or even months or years?
The possibilities are endless as to what's going to happen, because we now realize that we don't always have to be able to be right next to each other to connect. And so I think it's gonna bring people together and continually move us forward in ways that I didn't think were ever going to be possible. So for me, it's not something like as soon as we are able to get back to quote normal, whatever that's going to look like, that it's like, oh, that was a great experience. This is something that's going to continue and grow as time goes on.
And I know so many families are grateful for everything that you're doing. I thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Oh, thanks so much for getting in contact with me, and I really appreciate it, and stay well.
Thank you, Tyler.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
When we last spoke to Blair Guidry, she candidly discussed her experience working as a Cardiac-ICU nurse at Ochsner Medical Center in New Orleans amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Blair's story focused on a patient who died in the ICU, and his wife, knowing that he was in the end-of-life circumstances, chose not to come in so she wouldn't use a mask in the place of others who desperately need it. Despite the physical and mental challenges that she's facing each day, Blair continues to show up and serve on the front lines. Thanks for being here, Blair.
Thanks for having me.
So, talk to me a little bit about your working environment and, how you've been managing to protect yourself despite the shortage and given the demand of hospital beds and things like that.
So the experience so far has been very, very humbling. I think that it started off a little bit more rocky and then progressed to be a little bit better emotionally for us. We've had a lot of time to kind of process this whole pandemic, and so far I think that everyone is kind of like getting into the hang of things, and we know how to use the proper PPE. We've educated people on it, family, other nurses. So I think that things are finally starting to look up for not only us, but patients as well.
For the people who aren't in the medical field, who aren't serving on the front lines, such as yourself, what can they do to help during this time?
So I just ask that everyone just stay strong and know that we will get through this together. and to donate to any charities that you feel strongly about, and to really just stay strong.
Speaking of charities, are there any that you personally feel a connection with that you would want our viewers to consider donating to?
So actually, yes, since pretty much day one of this virus, we have had a what's called Red Beans Parade. Red Beans is really popular down here in New Orleans, and they have been accepting donations for food to give to us for, our day shift and night shift nurses. I think that just, researching around and just seeing how you can support your healthcare workers is really important, but I definitely would love to shout out Red Beans Parade.
Well, Blair, on behalf of all of us at People, we sincerely thank you. We hope that you stay safe, and hopefully we will see better days ahead.
I hope so. Thank you so much for your time.